I'm Paranormal Pete, and I'm on a journey to seek answers to the questions that have crossed all of our minds. What happens to us when we die? Is there an afterlife? I'm a regular guy who discovered the gift of psychic mediumship in my 30s. My passion for history and the unknown have put me right here, right now. My mantra for anything paranormal is, we don't know much and anything is possible. Join me as we find our way through the stories, evidence, and experiences of the paranormal and beyond in search of answers, even if that leads to more questions. Are you with me?
Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday night. That means it's the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbea. We're on WLTK-DB.com. Be sure and hit the website. You can catch all the past episodes from all the shows. And by the way, there's more and more shows coming every month, it seems like, and a lot of great content. So if you're into the paranormal, if you're into true crime, cryptids, metaphysical, psychic mediumship, this is the place for you, and you can spend all week on here. So make sure you take a good tour of WLTK-DB.com, and you can find us on all the socials under that heading, and under that tag, WLTK-DB. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and Twitch. I could probably keep going. So anywhere you like to watch streams, definitely check out WLTK-DB. And I hope you like my show page and follow it as well to see who's coming up as for guests each week. And occasionally I'll throw in something fun there. And that's facebook.com/Paranormal Pete Show. Easy to find there. And I've got a great month of July. And again, I'm taking August off and taking a break. But I'll be back in September swinging for the fences. So hope you'll catch the replays that we'll play during my show time in August, and then I'll be back in September. Tonight, I've got some of the guys from the Alaskan Killer Bigfoot show, and they were on a month and a half ago. They were on a few weeks ago. Time's going so fast, I don't even know anymore. But the show, Alaskan Killer Bigfoot, was on Discovery Plus and has moved to Travel Channel now. And new episode comes out each week. And so I'm excited to talk to the guys tonight kind of about what's come out already on the Travel Channel if you're following the show. So we'll get into some pretty cool stuff. Next week, I have good friend of the show and great friend of the Port Gamble Ghost Conference. I've got psychic medium and author and Kasha Menti coming on next week. And then I'll have author for the last show of July, Tracy Shearer, coming on as well. She's attended the Port Gamble Ghost Conference, and that's how I met her. And so interested to talk about her books and kind of her journey as well. So that's going to be a fun show. And I've got a ghost walk this weekend. If you're in the Seattle area looking for something to do, it's 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday night. And I know it sounds boring, like it's a 3-hour tour. Oh geez, but time flies by. I can barely fit it into 3 hours, but we get to talk a lot of history here in Port Gamble, which is one of Washington's oldest towns, and talk about all the experiences that I can think of, and it'll include a lot of my own experiences as well. Plus, we get to go spend about an hour in the Walker Ames house, kind of going through and seeing if anybody says hello back to us. So that's always a great time. And you can also attend a public investigation. I got some of those coming up as well, where it's 3 hours just in the Walker Ames house, and I'll lead an investigation. And we often have on those investigations, which is a lot of fun. The last one I did last month, we heard someone growl. There's no animal around. We heard footsteps across multiple floors of the house where there wasn't anybody walking. Everybody was just sitting still and quiet. And so that was really cool. You never know what you're going to get. And that's what makes them fun. But if you're interested in those or booking a reading with me, go to portgambleparanormal.com. And you can email me through there if you're interested in a psychic reading, a mediumship reading. I do evidential mediumship, and so if you need some help and looking for a reading, look it up, portgambleparanormal.com. Also, big shout out to the station owner, host of Haunted Voices, Todd Bates, and he's on the ones and twos, always in the background making this thing run. And of course, a big shout out to my good friend and producer of the show, Michael Beers, as well. And wherever you're watching from, comment. We'll put it up on the screen. If you have questions, we definitely encourage questions. Be sure you join the conversation wherever you're watching from. Just whatever comment section it is, we'll see it. So let us know you're watching. Say hey, we'll give you a shout out. But gosh, busy summer, crazy summer. I hope everyone's summer is going well so far. It seems to have finally showed up here in Washington. I think last week we were hitting 60 and thinking, wow, that's great. 60 degrees. So it seems like summer is finally shown up here. But just glad to be here. I can't believe how fast the summer's going. And I just want to thank everybody for all the support in the show as well. It's very humbling. I'm lucky enough to be speaking at the OC Paracon down in Anaheim, California, October 1st and 2nd. It's the first in-person one. They did a virtual one through the pandemic, but this is the first in-person conference of its kind down in Anaheim area. So that's October 1st and 2nd. You want to go to ocparacon.com. And fellow show host here on the station, Nicole Strickland, will be there as well, doing a speaking presentation as well. And we're both going to be on a panel about broadcasting the paranormal. So go to ocparacon.com and see all the details there. And then also, you can't forget the Port Gamble Ghost Conference coming up here. It's one that I host, and I've had the pleasure of hosting for many years. Always enjoy all the people, and we get to check out some really cool places. That's November 11th through 13th, and we're holding the conference in the old theater, which is haunted as well. It's always fun when we can do the conference up there in the theater. So portgamble.com, go to the events tab, you'll see Ghost Conference, and you can check it out. I'll be doing some updating real soon, behind on updating the website there, but just stay tuned in and you'll start to see speakers roll out on the page and classes. And there's a lot of historical information I put on there of the investigation locations. So if you're into learning the history of a place before you go there because you're doing historical research, go check it out. Again, that's portgamble.com, and go to the events tab and click on Ghost Conference. And so if those of you out there, let us know if you've been following the show, Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. Let us know, put a comment up. It's now on the Travel Channel, and so I've been getting to watch full episodes instead of clips because I didn't have Discovery Plus. And my God, these guys, I gotta say, the crew that went up there on this expedition, they got some serious guts, and we'll get into some of the activity and things, and I don't want to give away the whole show, but we're going to talk about what's out so far on Travel Channel and kind of the experiences and what the guys think. And tonight, I think Nantinaq, Bigfoot, I think might be messing with the internet for some of the guys. We're having some technical issues, but we've got some of them, and we're going to have some fun anyways, and hope the other guys can get in there if Nantinaq will allow that. I think he's messing with electronics. So on the show tonight, and right now we've got one of the descendants of people from Portlock, Alaska. And he's a cook. He's doing right now. He's working hard and waiting for the season to be over, and hopefully we can get him down here to Port Gamble in November. But you know him as DJ. Let's bring him on here. There he is.
Hello, Pete. How you doing?
Good, man. So glad you could be here and join in for a fun conversation I think we're going to get into here. And we've also got historian on the show, and he's a great friend of this show. I've known Jeff for a while. Historian Jeff Davis.
All right,
hey,
Jeff.
Thanks
there you
for
are.
having me back, guys.
Yeah,
DJ.
and
Let me.
the internet gremlins, yeah, are getting Jeff a
Should I
little
put my
bit
hat
tonight.
on?
Show some support, Jeff. You should, yeah, there you go. All right, now we can start. So, one of the things I want that looks awesome.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to get into tonight to kind of start off with is, and Jeff, I picked some extra hard questions for you since you say I always give you the hard questions, but can you kind of set us up here with the story from your perspective? What happened in Portlock? What is this show about from a historian's perspective?
Sure. It's kind of interesting from my perspective, of course, because DJ and the rest of the guys who are out there have a much closer perspective because it's part of their history, their tribal history. And so I don't know enough to adequately touch on DJ's part, and I'm sure DJ and Keith, if he can join us, would correct me. But historically, European American historically, that whole area of the part of the Kenai Peninsula was visited in the at least as early as the 1790s by European explorers. Captain Cook. There was a Spanish explorer. There was Captain Portlock, who was an English colonial. So depending on your point of view, he was either an American or an Englishman. And maybe even before then, because for people watching the show, at a certain point, DJ, the one pit that you sent Ash down to dig into, there's a coin that's even older than the 1700s that they found there. And so this whole this part of the world was okay. This part of the world, these European explorers were coming up, trying to find the Northwest Passage, trying to find sea otter furs, and laying claim to the land as part of their territory. The Russians were there as well, and as a matter of fact, when Portlock arrived, the Russians had been making their way from because of the webcam. I'm trying to go from Siberia over to Alaska. They were going almost island by island across the Bering Sea, and in their own form of integration, pillaging, and recruitment. And so, in a way, this had become in the late 1700s, early 1800s, kind of a crossroads point for all these explorers for various reasons. And the Spaniards and Portlock, both in this 1780s, 1790s time period, did perform these taking ceremonies, these possession ceremonies on the site of Portlock. And when they did that, bad things happened. And of course, they sailed on, but the Spanish expedition, as soon as the day after they performed the possession ceremony, they had stuff missing. They had people start dying, according to logs of scurvy. But just all of a sudden, to have over a half dozen guys die. Portlock's crew, they had trouble too. And these explorers, of course, they lost traction because the Russians were there year round. And so it was really the Russian assimilation of what we now know as Alaska. Then America bought Alaska, Seward's Folly, and it is in the late 1800s that people started heavily exploiting the resource there. And so, land began as a fishing cannery town, and it's after World War II that, well, even before World War II, strange things were happening. The cannery burned down. It was rebuilt in the 1940s. Off-duty cannery workers are out hunting, and they just, some of them, their bodies were never found. Some of them, their bodies the rains washed them down into the lagoon. And the town had its own post office. It had its own school. It had a population of 100 people in the cannery, but they were all frightened and afraid because a couple people survived long enough to talk about this creature, this big hairy creature that came out of the woods and killed them. So in 1950, literally in the middle of the night, virtually everybody left, and even though a couple people come back every now and then, it's essentially been abandoned for 70 years.
It's an incredible story. DJ, what do you want to add to that? From your perspective, and you heard stories growing up. Everybody in your generation kind of heard all these stories, right? From people who were there. I mean, from your perspective, do we go back even farther than the 1790s? Do we go, and not necessarily with Europeans, but the First Nation there? Do you know of any stories that go back beyond what we have for history?
Personally, I don't know any like like I know that we've been there for as far back as, because we have an oral history, so nothing's like marked down by dates or anything like that.
Right.
But like all the stuff that Jeff was pulling up for us with his research, I was amazed that it was going that far back. Like I was just thinking it was like when maybe the Russians first came, and then they're talking about the Spanish and the British, and I was just like, whoa. And personally, like I just thought these were just like lore tales to, don't go in the woods when it's foggy, or don't go by yourself, always make sure you got a hunting partner or something, or someone to go fishing or pick berries with you, someone to watch your back. And I honest to God just grew up hearing them, and I was like, they're just kind of like superstitions, but I respected them because my grandma, she was like, you don't go over there, don't go back, don't go to that town. And even my mom was like, don't go there. And when we pulled up to Portlock and the fog was all the way down to the water, and I was like, this is what they told me not to come to. Like, oh man, like this is like, I was getting like, my hairs were standing up, goosebumps. I was like, this is what they told me not to do, and I'm doing it right now. And I got these camera guys behind me who never been here or anything. They're like, yeah, let's go, we'll film it. I'm like,
okay. Portlock put on all the bells and whistles when you guys pulled up.
It definitely did.
Looked super ominous. And so let me follow up real quick. You were saying, it's just kind of stories, superstitions. Now what do you think?
Well, I've always kind of believed them because a lot of the stories were told from like hunters or people who gather or something like that, or just people who've kind of explored the area a little bit. And they've all got some sort of story of an encounter, and you can definitely tell the difference between a bear and something way bigger.
Right. Especially if it stands up. Especially if it stands up. DJ's at work right now. He's on a break. What do you got there? Where do you work?
I work at Holland America Princess, the Kenai Princess Lodge in Cooper Landing, Alaska.
Right on. See, there's a good plug for you. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is, so 3 episodes are out so far from season 1 on Travel Channel, and they're coming out each week, and I think it's Sunday nights. And so I've been able to watch the full episodes now and kind of following along, and I'm curious about the obelisk that you guys found. Like, talk about your thoughts, like when you guys got up there on the scene and you find this stone obelisk kind of seemingly right in the middle of this area. It's got good access to the, viewing for the bay. what were some of the things you were thinking about when you saw this obelisk and kind of realized what it was?
When we first came to that obelisk, at first I thought it was like maybe like a pillar for like a foundation for a building at first, because I've been construction carpentry also. And then it kind of climbed up a little bit and then felt to see like, well, maybe it's like a chimney for a fireplace. And then I went and knocked on the top, and it was solid on top. Like it was literally like layered together. And
Not
then it
a
was like,
fireplace.
okay, I grew up around this, from I went to high school probably like 100 miles away, and like all the old buildings and stuff, you really don't see anything like that. And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. And then with all the moss growing on it, and you can see in the show it's all layered up and everything. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, that looks like a chimney, like a handmade.
Yeah.
Someone did some masonry back in the day, and they want to get a fireplace going where they can warm up or cook. And I was like, well, this is not hollow. Like, okay. And then I tried looking around to see if there's other like foundation pieces or something like that, and that was the only one in the area. And I was like, well, this is overlooking a cliff that we have now over the water. And I was like, then we started getting some of the history from like Jeff and talking about like doing the ceremonies of possession and stuff like that, and building like a shrine. And I was like, this is stuff I've only read about like in other countries that it happens to. Like I've never really seen it here in Alaska. So I was like,
yeah,
all right, well, that kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. I mean, did you guys kind of think?
And it was like right in the area of where the spooky tree was too. So it's like
right,
like within like probably 100 yards from there.
And that's and that was
So we
like
had that.
you guys think it was like 1,000-year-old tree or something?
Yeah. Most of the trees that we have around are probably 80 to 250 years old, but this was probably about 4 or 5 times wider. And then when you cut a tree, you can count the rings to see how old it is.
Right.
And this is like literally, I have a picture with me and Kyle and our audio guy, Rob. We were standing next to each other, and the tree was still wider than all of us, shoulder to shoulder.
Dude, that's incredible.
And I was like, I've only seen 2 trees like that in like this area of Alaska, and they're both in Portlock. And I was like, that is really weird.
So
they look like redwoods almost, and it's like like spruces, and it's just like this is strange.
Yeah. Oh, and it just looks huge. I'm wondering, I mean, do you think that the size of the tree, do you think that is in some way related to Nantinaq and, the powers that seem to, like making people feel sick? Do you think the tree, the environment, everything, does that all kind of contribute to that, you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the oldest trees there, so it's probably got like, if you literally have to walk around, you'll see like a tree that's like 10 feet wide, and then everything else is like that wide. So those trees were left for some reason. I mean, It was a logging town back in the day, and then they had all this starting to happen, and yeah, you don't see trees around there that big at all. Like even growing up, I've never like hiking through the woods and going exploring with family or something. You don't see trees that big, and
yeah,
Portlock, there's 2 of them that are just like mind blowing how huge they are. So there's definitely got to be some sort of like close to earth, close to the environment, like a connection or something.
Yeah, and like you said, why were they left? Why were they left?
And it's like literally like over by where we had like sawmill, like old parts of the old like cannery and sawmill and stuff, and it's literally like right in just like people saw those trees and they're like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Or something.
You'd think the loggers are like, licking their chops at seeing that thing, and then like, oh no, we're gonna leave it. you know.
Yeah. Someone puts a sob next to it and stuff starts happening. Like, no,
Nope.
leave that tree. Yeah.
Leave it. Yeah, I'm wondering if that kind of stuff happened. Looks like we got Jeff back here.
All right.
Jeff, are you with us? Internet goblins galore.
Hey, we see you.
Hey, Jeff. Can you hear us? Oh, yeah, we got a couple comments here. Lance checking in here, good friend of the show. Oral tradition is important, in that I stole his question. He wanted to ask about some
No,
of the
yeah,
more
like most of everything that we have was like oral tradition. Like when we started learning language when I was in school as a young child to like what it is now, like the language, like the alphabet and everything is like completely different. So they just try to, because it's literally an oral language, like
yeah,
how it's passed down and stuff, and you just go by the sounds, not how it's spelled.
Yeah, I think that's so neat too. Got a couple more comments. Nikki's checking in here. Thanks for watching.
Yes, ma'am.
That tree's off limits.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then she's also added on, sorry, a little off topic, but got to say it. Love the hat, DJ. I have one like it. So comfy.
Yes. I actually got this from Keith's mother for Christmas when I was like 12 or 13.
Oh, wow.
So I've
right.
always had, like, when I found out that I was going to actually be on the show instead of just cooking in the background, I was like, hey, I got the old Mad Bomber hat your mom gave me for Christmas, and I'm going to wear it. And I put it on there, like, yes. And I was like, okay, I'm wearing it.
It's your ride or die for sure. And got a question coming in from my lovely wife, Molly. Do you know if any of the elders recall that tree or the obelisk? Have you heard any of the elders talk about those two things before?
I have not. Like, when we saw the obelisk for the first time, like I was talking about, I've done construction and carpentry and stuff, and it was just like wait a minute here, like, okay, that's like should look like, it looks like a chimney,
right?
Like the building like made of, like, probably was like made out of wood around it, and it deteriorated, and
right,
but the stone was still there, so I was like, okay, it's a chimney, and I climbed up there and it's like, nope, it's not hollow.
Yeah. Do you think after finding out it's not hollow and kind of reflecting back, I think it was Keith that mentioned maybe it's a beacon, a warning. Did you think anything like, it seems like a fire could be lit in the top of that thing.
Oh yeah, there was definitely about like a foot by a foot like square on top, like you can light, and had almost like a little like indent groove, and we put some rose quartz up there for protection, and we
Nice.
had our icon there too, and so we definitely did what we know what we can do to help us. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I said, that was, and also it almost looked like a really rough like grout and like river rock, like small pebbles, like not sand from the beach, but actually like a little bit of river rock. And there was only like a couple of rivers nearby, and we went and hiked a few miles each way, and we found them, and they were like, well, maybe the rock came from there, but it was like it wasn't like you get like a bag of cement and pour it and mix it and then shape it, and like it was definitely like a rushed or like very I don't know how to.
Or maybe the people didn't have the tools to make it look a certain way.
They had enough knowledge to be able to do it, and then they were able to shape it like that after.
Yeah. I think it was maybe used as a warning. Jeff, do we got you? Possibly. All right. Oh, hey, you're cutting in and out. Well, we're gonna take a quick station break here, and we'll be right back, and we'll see if we can get Jeff in there. Come on, internet goblins! Everyone, put out the good energy to get them out of there. We're gonna take a quick station break here on the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbea. We're on WLTK-DB.com. That's Paranormal Talk Radio. We'll be right back. Stick around for me and DJ, and we'll be right back.
Patty Negri.
Hi, I'm Pete Orbea.
Hi, this is Nicole Strickland.
My name is Hero.
My name is Sean Clem.
Hey everybody, Cleet Keith here, author of Ghost of Greystone Beverly Hills. I'm excited to invite you to the OC Paracon, which is going to be the first week in October.
Now that's just some of the people you're going to meet at Orange County Paracon. That would be Anaheim's first ever paranormal conference. I'm Henry, the organizer and also the host of Paranormal Perception, inviting you to meet those people that you just saw. You'll meet everybody, including some guests, some people that we haven't even announced on the website. It's going to be a surprise. Everything, info, tickets available on that website, ocparacon.com. Hope to see you to kick off our favorite time of the year in Anaheim at OC Paracon.
Take us with you on the go and download the new WLTK-DB mobile app. Search the App Store and Google Play under WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Download free today. The unexplained. It's all around us and usually supplies more questions than answers. You need answers. You need Cross Country Paranormal. Founded by Benjamin Young, CCP seeks to train, educate, and mentor anyone that has a passion for the paranormal. CCP is building a network of teams and investigations across the country, and all experience levels are welcome. Learn more about CCP on their website, ccpinvestigations.com, where you can find frequently asked questions, check out their equipment, follow their latest events, and of course, shop. Visit them now at ccpinvestigations.com. That's ccpinvestigations.com. Cross Country Paranormal. All are welcome. All are family.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pete Show. I'm your host, Pete Orbea, and I'm joined with special guest DJ Brewster from the cast of Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. Welcome back. And real quick, I'll just add, we do have the new app, WLTK-DB app. Go on the Android store, the Apple store, and you can there's always something on there. So if you just want to listen for a few minutes and check something out, definitely go download the app there. So before the break, we're trying to get Jeff in here, and I think the internet's got him here, and I think the other guys too. Hi, Linda. Linda says, hey, Pete and DJ, thanks for watching.
Hi, Linda.
Linda's a good friend of the show. She's been on the show as well. So before the break, we were talking about this obelisk you guys found, and kind of wanted to keep moving from that. And in the last episode, you guys had Noah show up with some dogs. How relieved were you when the dogs got there and another person with some supplies? How relieved were you?
Well, he definitely brought us a few extra supplies that I kind of needed for like cooking and stuff, so it made me really happy. But having the dogs, like, I stayed towards base camp quite a bit more than most people, because I was usually cooking or foraging something around there to cook for us, and then he'd sometimes leave a dog with me, and then when we went out to go see if we can hear something at night that week, and we set up the audio recorders, like Kyle and Ash and Keith broke off and went up to a different area, and then me and Noah were kind of like sitting there with their old cannery with the old equipment, and it was like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, well, at least we got dogs with us. Like, this is gonna be fun and interesting. And then we were there for, I think, about 2 hours, just trying to pick up any kind of audio or anything. And to me, I just thought it was like wind blowing, and when we went to go play it back, I was like, oh, that is not fun.
What was it that you think was on the audio?
To be honest, I really don't know. It was like you can hear the wind blowing and the breeze, and then there's like a 8-second break, like we replayed it over and over and over, probably about 50 or 60 times after. And I was just like, man, I was right there. And it almost sounded like there was like something like softly, just kind of like almost like trying to communicate, but I wasn't able to detect if it was a language. It wasn't anything like our native language. It wasn't like Russian or Chinese, or, you know, I was like, it just sounded like it was trying to communicate, and there was like a break in the wind, and then it just like started like making almost like mechanical noises, and then
So
it
weird.
stopped, and then the wind started picking up again, and I was just like, what the heck was that? But it
Yeah.
almost sounded like it was like came up to the recorder and started like making the noise for like 3 or 4 seconds, and I was like,
And you were sitting right there.
yeah, because we were sitting there, and I set it up on the big old steam. I think it was an old steamer that would like kind of like a big pressure cooker, but like production style, where you can fit like 1,000 jars of fish in versus
Okay.
like 20.
Yeah.
And so it was like one of those big ones, and I climbed up it and put it on top, and just listening and like trying to be quiet. And then I was like trying to ask Noah some questions, like how he feels about being out here. He's like talking about his experiences, like not experiences, but he's like traveled all over Alaska also, and he's heard different stories. But he's also talked about like people are like, whoa, Portlock, like you don't want to go there. And he's like, now I want to.
Exactly. We got a question here from Linda for you, DJ. Did you get any bodily reaction when it was happening? Did you feel anything? You know, what was it like?
I honestly, it was like that first couple of weeks, it was blowing like 40 to 50 miles an hour. Like that's one thing that I wish the camera and the audio was able to pick up. I know they had to edit it out, but when we were trying to set up that tent at first, it was blowing so hard, like it almost picked me up. And then we were trying to set up a drone, but we were only able to go like 4 or 5 feet high because the wind was blowing so strong. And when we were trying to set up the drone, the tent flies off like 20, 30 feet. And we're just like, we didn't get that on camera.
Oh, man.
But like that night, I didn't have any like chills or anything until we actually went and reviewed the audio like 2 weeks later or something, or a week later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that night, like I was just like, yeah, just hanging out in the cold, like, all right,
Yeah. So
wind's blowing.
that's interesting, you know, that you know, it seems like maybe the voice was projected from somewhere, because if that was that close to you with all the reports of people feeling sick and stuff, it's interesting that, like, how did the voice get there? You know what I mean? How did it get on your audio? And Nikki was asking, what did you do? Is this in the show? Is that audio when you guys played it back and listened to it, is that in the show?
I'm not 100% sure. I believe it is.
Okay.
Because at one point it shows us like, I don't want to talk too far ahead. I think it might be in the next episode when we kind of review it. But
yeah, don't spoil.
Definitely like, but that night, like I was just like, it's cold, it's windy, like I got.
What am I doing
here? I got to cook food for everyone here soon. A couple hours, like.
yeah, I got to get up and do that.
Yeah.
And we got another question, and this is from fellow show host here, brand new show here on WLTK-DB, Monday Morning Monsters. And we got the host, Barnaby Jones, here. He said, asking, going into the show, knowing the history of the Bigfoot reports, did you guys do any research into the topic on your own? Like before the show, did you guys try and, you know, chase down more info, and, you know, kind of how did you approach that?
I literally was originally just supposed to cook for the cast and crew, like off camera. And so I was just like, all right, like cool, right on. They're like, yeah, we'll interview you once in a while. And then next thing you know, we had some stuff going on. They're like, okay, you need to be full time. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, like, but all right, let's go.
Yeah, it'd be an experiencer.
But no, I didn't do any research personally. Like during the show when they're giving us the information and like all the research that like Jeff done, I was like in awe, like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
I literally thought it was like lore, just kind of like stories, scary stories, you know. But it was like saw like newspaper clippings from like San Francisco and like New York Times. I was like,
Whoa.
oh,
That adds another layer.
okay. Like, okay, now what am I really doing down here? Like,
Yeah.
that's what it kind of felt like. Like at first I was like uncomfortable going there because I was told not to go there. And then when we show up, fog was down to the water, and I'm like, this is just not right.
Yeah, it was super ominous. And Barnaby says, LOL, nice. That's a great way to get into the show.
Yeah.
Not knowing you're going to be on the show. And
like,
then
it
you're
was
on the
literally
show.
like me just like going down there, and they had like cameras on us and just like showing us their reactions. I'm just like, this is like, I've heard stories and stuff, and now I see proof, and now I'm actually here. Like, okay, like,
yeah.
All right.
So
this is really happening.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, the latest episode that came out, I wanted to kind of get your insight with working with the medium that came out, and I don't want to spoil it, but she seemed to leave pretty quick.
She did, actually. She did leave
from
pretty
Portlock.
quick. So
what was your impression of that whole experience?
So they when she came in, I was like, I've heard of mediums. I've never actually met one, so I never really had an experience with them. But, you know, after figuring out all this stuff, I was like, you know, my dad believed in like pretty much everything, so I can understand why now.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to talk to her or anything, like none of like the production. What she was told when she got there was, you know, just show us some parts and, you know, tell us how you feel type of thing. And we came over towards like the spooky tree obelisk area, and she's just like, we're trying to like take her up into that area, and she was like, no, I want to go around here first. And, you know, she's like, I get a bad feeling from up there. And we're just like, huh, like, all right. Okay.
You guys seem you guys seem kind of spooked out by that she, you know, was headed in the direction of all that stuff. And, you know, did you feel anything when she started talking about, you know, feeling a lot of, you know, heavy energy, things like that? Did you or any of the other guys talk about, you know, were you feeling anything at that time as well?
So like literally like just in that area, you'd feel kind of like queasy, like your stomach would drop, like when you're driving like or not driving, but in like a Cessna, and you hit an air pocket and you drop, or like going down a roller coaster, you know, your stomach just drops. You just like, sometimes it's just like walking into like certain areas, you'll feel that, and some people get nauseous and stuff. So it was just, that's why we called it like, that was like a mark on our map, because everyone kind of experienced a little bit of something. And like I was like, I don't know if they're just talking about this, but sometimes I'd go through there too, and I was like, ooh, like, okay, like I see what they're feeling.
Well, and you know, it seems like the feelings were pretty strong with people, or, you know, really impactful, which kind of tells me you guys are kind of working out your own empath abilities and being able to feel other things. You know, that nauseous, you know, whatever makes you nauseous, probably like a really super strong energy, I would think. So, you know, you guys are your own empaths. And after that experience with the medium, and you know, and she took off, you know, did you guys kind of try and pay more attention to how you were feeling, or if you were like kind of self-guiding yourself, or was it more like, okay, now what do we do?
Well, like our original mission was kind of like map out the old town a little bit, and then, you know, see if there's still resources in the area.
Right.
So we're going around with, you know, Kyle and stuff, and there was a couple of times where he's just like, I don't feel comfortable about this, but like all of us had those moments. And but at the same time, like we've all been in the woods and stuff like that, so you're always observant, like you're hearing, you're smelling, you're always looking. Like even sometimes when we all like are huddled up and talking, like I'll always be like looking around just to make sure, you know. And you're like I'm facing you right now, you're looking behind me to make sure there's nothing behind me. So
Right.
That you're always on high alert. So it got
Yeah.
really, after a long day of hiking around and stuff like that and trying to figure things out, it
Yeah.
was you definitely enjoyed your sleep when you got it.
That's great. We got another question here from Linda. Was there anywhere else that felt like that around that, that obelisk area that, was there any other places that felt like that and especially that strong?
Not that strong. And there was, like I was talking about, like that one other big tree that we found. Like I said, there was only 2 that I seen that big.
Yeah.
Like by that other big tree was like kind of like in the lagoon area. So
yeah.
so it was like, oh,
Those are conveniently located.
yeah, in places where you don't want to be, it seems like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's got to be a nature connection there. Uh, there's kind of 2 camps, that have kind of come into the Bigfoot field that's kind of, dividing it. Like there's the interdimensional, Bigfoots are interdimensional beings, and then there's the other camp, which is they're a relict hominid, right? They're an old species from thousands, maybe even millions of years ago. And gosh, as I'm thinking about these trees, like I've always thought, well, why can't we put those 2 together? Those
Yeah,
2 camps
exactly.
together? And like, you got to figure if let's say Nantinaq is a million, his species, his line is 1,000,000 years old, right? Or even 100,000 years old. You got to wonder with the intelligence that we all believe Bigfoot has, that they've maybe somehow unlocked the secrets of Earth, unlocked
Or
the
maybe they
secrets
use,
of
like
nature.
we supposedly use what, 10% of our brain? What if they're able to use 20% of their brain and be able to,
Exactly. And maybe they do go into the trees.
Yeah,
And
and as big as those were, as they were or are, like even just like looking at like the branches look like actual trees coming out of them, like the ones surrounding. And it
yeah.
was just like I wouldn't even want to try to cut that down because I'd feel bad because it's so like such a big beautiful tree.
Yeah.
Like there's probably definitely like some sort of natural energy that comes from it for sure.
Yeah. And I remember last time we had you guys on, I think Jeff spoke of some oral traditions of that they do live in. Some people believe that Bigfoot lives in trees, like they can go
Yeah,
in and out of trees.
like
And when you,
teleport in and out.
yeah, and if you got 2 of those giant trees in areas where
Oh, they're like less than
activities
500 yards
happening,
apart too.
it's just crazy. And Barnaby's got a great comment here. According to Fae or fairy lore, they're the guardians of the forest, a giant lorax, right?
So, what I've always grown up thinking and believing was I always thought Nantinaq was kind of like a protector, like, you know, maybe everyone started getting way too greedy and kind of had to like, hey, stop.
Yeah. Well, you
And that's
guys,
the only way they're able to send their message. I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, you guys talked about that on the show of, maybe when someone, when resources start to be pillaged and not maybe respectfully used and taken,
yeah,
when it gets, like you said, greedy, then that's when things seem to kick up. And if you think about going back into the 1790s, at least, like Jeff was talking about, and,
they're
when
trying
more,
to take over land that's not theirs.
and then this thing protects it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you put in a cannery and then a logging camp at the same time. It's like,
The
okay.
mining.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
mining. Yeah, mining probably is really ticks things off, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys, I just got to say, and I said it at the beginning, I mean, you guys got some guts, because some of the experiences you're going through, like the sounds that were coming, that you guys were getting, like those strange, like howls, whistles, rocks being thrown, you
That
know,
was very interesting.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
With all that stuff, I just want to, throw in there that, um, this we talked about this last time you guys were on. This is more than, you're not just doing a Bigfoot expedition. You guys are trying to reclaim the land, and so it's a
yeah.
much bigger deal than just Bigfoot. But how did you guys really like come out of this after you finished filming season 1? Like, were you guys emotionally okay coming out of there? Were you guys, did
I think
anybody,
we were
did you
stronger after
struggle?
that. I think
Stronger.
we were stronger, yeah. Because we were
That's
just like,
awesome.
we want to come back. We want to do, even if it's not a season 2, like we just want to like go and like, explore a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
I didn't go there because I respected my mom's word, and then the opportunity come to go and cook, and I was like
Yeah.
kind of curious, like, okay, I want to go see and check it out, and then had an opportunity to do it, and I'm so happy I did. It was a great experience, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking to you. I
Yeah, exactly.
like right on. Like this is really cool. We got people throwing in questions, and it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
want to
Well,
be
there's a
part of it. I want to keep it
couple
going.
more. Yeah, there's a couple more we're gonna get to here. Um, so going back, like, have you guys gone back, intermittently, to do more work, since you stopped filming for season 1? Have you gone back?
So right after we got done filming season 1, I went back home to Nantinaq, and I was helping with putting fish away for the winter. And then I didn't know that I tore my bicep tendon in December before, so I filmed the whole season with torn bicep tendon. And then finally it started hurting so bad, I went to the clinic in Nantinaq, and they were like, yeah, we need to send you over for x-rays, and they thought it was arthritis. So I did physical therapy for a week, and they pulled on it. I was like, oh.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're like, you shouldn't have felt that. So I had an MRI, and so I was like, when's the soonest I can get surgery? Because I didn't know if we were going to go in right away and start filming season 2, or how long it
Yeah.
would take to heal. And then Keith's been working. Ash is going off and exploring, and Kyle's been working too, and Guy's been working also. So it's
That's awesome.
everyone's been working, and we're just kind of like we'll message like the producers like and stuff, and we'll be like, can't wait to get the band back together, like let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've been helping us, like Jeff's been doing an amazing job like setting up these podcasts and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
interviews, and it's just been like this is great. It's a good team, and everyone is like super happy to be a part of it and
Yeah.
all in.
Yeah, we
Hopefully we
got
can. If we don't, we're kind of waiting to see if we get a season 2 or not. If we get a season 2, we'll just do it all on camera. But if we don't, then we'll probably go down, at least, like once a month or something,
yeah. No,
go check
that's
it out. Go check out what's growing there.
yeah.
What kind of fish are there.
Well, I hope that you guys will consider using mediums again, or more, to try and maybe help bridge that gap of communication, where you guys can communicate with Nantinaq out there and make that peace that's desperately needed, so you guys can move forward. So I hope you guys will continue, or have a medium out again that somebody could provide some really good insight. We got a couple of questions here, and Nikki was commenting that she was quoting you. I think we were stronger. She loves that. And I think you answered her other question of, would you do it all again? I think you answered that one.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And then, so
Thank you,
Barnaby,
Nikki.
yeah. Barnaby's got another question here. Did you notice activity when up around base when you started a fire? There have been theories that fire forest fire is dangerous and they come in to try and put it out. Did you notice any sort of connection when you guys built a fire?
Well, we're about, I don't know the actual mileage. Like, we're not far from our village of Nunwalik, and we use fires all the time for like cooking or even just signaling. Like, like if you're out on the beach or something and tide starts coming up, you make a little fire on the edge so that way people know where you're at. So if someone's going by on the skiff, they can help pick you up. Because we have those cliffs and stuff that are like 20, 30 feet high, and you don't want to be scaling those when tide's coming in. So
no.
if you're in a spot where you need to set a signal out, you let it out, and hopefully you get picked up. But
yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask,
because we use the fires for cooking. Oh, go ahead. I was just saying that we use fires for cooking and stuff all the time. So usually I don't see anything, but maybe if they're like big bonfires, maybe. But like I had a nice little setup for where I cooked at. So like we didn't get bothered, and we were right next to the ocean too. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to know if there was a bigger fire built, if something might come down to get a closer look. And Linda's commenting here, am I volunteering to go? Well, I'm not volunteering to go, but just keep using mediums.
That would be awesome and honored to have you to come out and visit for a day even, That'd be a cool experience.
Oh, well, it'd be fun to go
so I need to come down and visit you guys, and then you need to come visit us in Portlock.
Vice versa. Right on. And Barnaby's, but that's in your town. I mean, more in Portlock. Oh, he's wondering more in Portlock. While you were there, did you experience anything when fires were built? I think that's what he was trying to ask.
Ours were more like later in the evenings, like getting rocks thrown at and stuff like that. Like during the day, like it was strangely comfortable, but so quiet out there. Like there was hardly any like wildlife. Like you didn't really hear or see birds or anything like we do at home in Nunwalik. And then like we found evidence of bears, but we really didn't see much of bears. I think we saw one bear, and we had to go across the bay in the skiff to go see it.
Okay.
And we were just kind of walking around, just kind of checking out the area, and I was like, oh shit, there's a bear. Or, oh shoot, there's a bear. Sorry about that.
You can say whatever you want on this show. It's all good. Another fellow host here, Be the Change on WLTK-DB, Christina Bloom. She says she volunteers to go. So there you go. I'd love to come up there and check it out. And my whole point was, if you guys keep trying, I just hope that you'll continue, have another medium out.
That's another tool in our tool belt that we can use now. And we actually know people now, and like having Jeff do a bunch of research and the producers being involved, like if we go down, like, we want to, kind of figure out what's going on down there, because it'd be awesome to be able to expand our village that far. And
exactly. Yeah. And get the land back and grow how you need to. Barnaby's commenting, I'll come look for Bigfoot.
We'll have to have him come be security for us or something.
Yeah. Well, you should be on his show. Monday Morning Monsters. We'll see if we can connect you guys.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much out of time, and darn the internet, Jeff, my apologies. He's been trying the whole time to get in, and then it keeps getting booted out. Barnaby says deal. There you go. So my apologies, Jeff, that we couldn't get you in there, but we had historian Jeff Davis. So I kind of want to follow you guys through the season. So towards the season ending, let's get you guys back on, and we'll see if we can figure out the internet, goblins here, or ask Nantinaq allows everybody to get onto things. I'd love to have you guys back, and I hope that you stay safe and protect yourself, and when you're going out there, and of course you're working really hard right now, so good luck through that, and then I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me. It's definitely been an honor, and I actually enjoy these shows with you because, like, you're like, oh, an hour is gonna go by quick, and I'm just like,
It
now
does.
like an hour, and I'm like, Jeff wasn't on, Keith wasn't on, like Ash wasn't here, like, oh my goodness, like, come
Yep.
on.
Yeah,
But
you were
yeah, I
the
really enjoyed myself.
you're the lone guy without internet troubles tonight. So
Oh,
we
I'm
thank you for
actually
that.
like half a mile away from where I sleep because I don't have internet where I'm from and our cell phone reception is terrible. I asked my
Yeah.
boss if I can use the office computer to be able to do
Yeah.
this. So she was like, "Yeah,
Well,
I'll
we
get it
really
set up."
appreciate that. We
Yeah,
really
I
really
really
appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it too.
Yeah, and Barnaby says thanks for sharing. Christina, really enjoyed the show. Thanks. I
Thank
wasn't
you
kidding.
guys.
I'd go. And Molly commenting, you did great.
Thank you guys.
And Nikki, great show, guys. Thanks everybody. And Linda saying thanks, Pete and DJ. Great show. It's always fun to talk to you. So let's get you back on towards the end of the season coming out. And fingers crossed, I hope they do a season 2 because you guys are a great bunch of guys and got some serious guts. I want to see more. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see you guys claim that land back. I want to see you guys show up in boats with everybody. I mean, what a scene.
Absolutely, that would be cool.
What a scene that would be to see everybody coming back, a homecoming. That'd be so cool. And I hope
For
that
sure.
happens.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, well,
Write that
DJ
down for future.
Yeah, exactly. Well, DJ, I'll leave every show with a toast, and to you, to everybody watching out there, Todd Bates, station owner, Mike Beers, producer, to everybody watching out there, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support, and go watch Alaskan Killer Bigfoot. It's on Travel Channel. Comes out Sunday nights each week. You got to check out this show, see what these guys are going through and what they're experiencing. It's pretty darn incredible. And the story itself is pretty darn incredible too. So be sure you go check that out on Sunday nights. A new episode comes out each week, and we'll have you back for sure. And I'll leave everybody with this. The past is history, but the future is a mystery. But today's a gift because it's the present. Take time each week, each day, whenever you can do it, to be present, be there with the people you're with, be there in the moment. Don't be thinking about tomorrow. Don't be thinking about yesterday. And this is advice that I should really take on myself as well, but just to be present, take stock in what you got, hug everyone you're with, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks again, DJ. Be safe, and we'll see everybody next week on WLTK-DB.com on the Paranormal Pete Show with special guest and Kasha Amenti. Have a good night.
Hehehe